What is going on, guys? It's Suk and I am back with a brand new video on Super Duper Tech. And in today's video I'll be bringing you my full and in-depth review of the 2017 9.7-inch iPad. So without any further ado, let's hit the titles. So first up, I do want to get into talking about the design of the 2017 iPad. And taking a closer look at it, you could easily mistake this for either the original iPad Air or even the iPad Air 2. But those of us with a trained eye will remember that the original iPad Air did have a silent toggle switch alongside next to the volume buttons. And every iPad since the iPad Air 2, the back microphone has been moved closer to the camera lens. So while the new iPad has gotten slightly thicker when compared to the iPad Air 2 as well as the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, which does mean that many people have started to claim that the new iPad is essentially the older iPad Air but with updated internals. Now while that claim is slightly true, I did want to point out these subtle design changes that not many people have even mentioned. Now while this new iPad model has gotten slightly thicker when compared to the iPad Air 2 as well as the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, the device does feel quite comfortable even when using it for prolonged periods of time. Of course that is until you start using the iPad Pro or the iPad Air 2. This is when you will of course notice the difference. I do also want to quickly mention this other subtle difference that you will be able to tell if you compare the devices of course side by side. If you look at the font used on the iPad Air 2, it does look slightly bold, but on the newer models it is slightly thinner. Now I did also want to test out which one of these iPads is brighter, the iPad Air 2 or the 2017 iPad. Now as you can see, the brightness on both of these models was increased to the maximum, and I did test them both individually to see what readout I got. And as you can see on the iPad Air 2 I got a readout of around 363, but when compared to the new 2017 iPad I got a readout of around 462. And then for the sake of comparison, I did chuck in the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, and as you can see it did get a slightly lower readout when even compared to the 2017 iPad. These next two images clearly indicate that the 2017 iPad has a much brighter screen when compared to its predecessor, the iPad Air 2. Now while this may not seem like a massive improvement, of course for the price this is quite an improvement. Now while the resolution on all three of these iPad models has stayed the same at 2048 by 1536, and with the screen size also staying the same at 9.7 inches, this gives each of these iPads the same pixel density of around 264 ppi. Now where you will see some differences between the iPad and the iPad Pro model is that the iPad Pro has a True Tone display. It also has a P3 wider color gamut, which means that the screen on the iPad Pro can display more colors when compared to the iPad model. Another difference that can easily be spotted is that on the 2017 iPad model, the display is not directly laminated to the front glass. And with both the 2017 iPad and the iPad Pro placed side by side, you can definitely see there's a major difference in screen clarity. And the last difference between the 2017 iPad and the iPad Pro is that the iPad Pro does have an anti-reflective coating, which is something not found present in the 2017 iPad model. Now in terms of the power and performance capabilities across all three of these iPad models, I did run a number of different benchmarking tests which you can find in a separate video that I have uploaded on my channel. But since that video has gone live, Apple have released iOS 10.3.1 and Geekbench have also released and updated their Geekbench 4 application to Geekbench 4.1, and here are the test results found in Geekbench 4.1. Now after running all of these benchmarking tasks with the brightness on all of these iPads set to around 75%, I did compare how hot each of these iPads individually got, and as you can see by the readouts on the thermometer, the iPad Pro was by far the coolest of the three iPad models, with the 2017 iPad coming in second place. It's also a very similar story when comparing the audio that comes out of each of these iPads. Now this is slightly an unfair test, seeing as the Pro lineup of iPads do have a speaker in each corner. Now the main difference that you will hear is that the sound coming from the iPad Pro is slightly more rich. But when comparing the 2017 iPad to the iPad Air 2, the audio did sound very much identical.
I'm tryna put you in the worst mood. P1 cleaner than your church shoes. Really point to just to hurt you. I'm tryna put you in the worst mood. P1 cleaner than your church shoes. Really point to just to hurt you. I'm tryna put you in the worst mood. P1 cleaner than your church shoes. Really point to just to hurt you.
Another area across all three of these iPad models that I did upload a separate video testing was the cameras found on them. Now of course, if you guys do want to see this video, then I will leave links down below in the description, as well as a card in the top right hand corner for you to go ahead and check that video out. For the interest of saving time, of course, as you would have expected, the iPad Pro does have the most superior camera in terms of the iPad lineup. In terms of battery life and usage, at approximately 75% brightness, I was averaging at around 5.5 hours of usage, and this can be broken down to about 3.5 hours of watching some TV shows, an hour of web browsing, half an hour of gaming, along with around another half an hour on FaceTime. So while the 2017 iPad does not have any standout feature, what you do have to remember is that this is actually Apple's cheapest iPad in the entire lineup. Indeed, coming in at $330 US or around £340 here in the United Kingdom, which actually comes in quite considerably cheaper than the current iPad mini 4, therefore making it quite compelling for this to be your first iPad. Now if you are in the market to buy a new iPad, or if you are looking to buy your first iPad, then by sure I will of course recommend the new 2017 iPad. But if you do currently own an iPad Air 2 and you are looking to upgrade, then I would strongly suggest waiting off until the new updated version of the iPad Pro is released. This is as the value of the 2016 iPad Pro will decrease, which means you could actually pick yourself up quite a bargain when the iPad Pro lineup is updated. So then guys, that has been it for today's video. I do hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, then make sure you smack that like button. If you are new around here, then why not subscribe? If you have got any questions or queries as to what you've seen in today's video, then be sure to leave them down below. And if you do want to see what video I'm working on next, then be sure to add me on my social media. Once again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.